conversation with this white guy. We were talking about baseball. You know, we sports fans and shit. So I like football, baseball, and basketball. So we were talking about the major leagues in the national leagues back in the 30s and 40s before they integrated the league. And you had the Negro leagues. And before I even said any goddamn thing, and this is an older white guy, you know, older white man, he basically said the reason why they got rid of the Negro leagues. So I already knew the answer why. But he explained it to me. He said that the American League and the National League didn't want to have to compete with the Negro leagues. And he solidified every damn thing we always been saying. They got rid of the Negro leagues because the Negro leagues had all the best players, and they would win, they would whoop their ass. They would whoop the National League ass, and they'll whoop the American League ass. So you had all these star-studded baseball players back in the day, like Sancho Page, Josh Gibson, Bernie Madoff, Terry Wilkinson, all these that played for the the Kansas City Monarchs. Josh Gibson was a backhand catcher. And and then you had Sancho Page, and these guys, they just took they been broke Babe Ruth's record, but they didn't even want to recognize. Sancho Page broke Babe Ruth's record several times, but due to the fact it was the Negro leagues, they didn't want to give him credit for it. Due to the fact they wasn't in the American leagues or national leagues, but they always played games with the national leagues and the American leagues and whooped their ass. But they, like I said, with everything, he said, yeah, they got rid of the Negro leagues because they had Negro leagues had all the best players. And he said that's just real talk. And this a white man told me this. I ain't say shit. He said, yeah, the Negro leagues had all the best players. He said, yeah, a lot of them were showboats and shit, but they had all the best goddamn players. Shit. He said, man, they was fucking hammering. They hammered the motherfucker. He looked at the game between the Kansas City Monarchs and New York Yankees. They beat the shit. They just ball over motherfucker the Yankee Stadium. Just knocking balls all out the goddamn stadium. And when the motherfucker, after the Kansas City Monarchs left that game, everybody left out that game, just sad, and all kind of riots used to pop off. All kind of riots and shit used to pop off because the Negro leagues used to whoop the shit out of the American leagues and the national leagues in certain cities. They used to whoop their ass. Like they played the Kansas City Monarchs played the Kansas City Royals and whooped their ass. And they damn near had a whole riot. Go look that shit up. They had a whole riot because the Kansas City Monarchs beat the Kansas City Royals ass. And then turn around the following week and whoop the Cardinals ass up in St. Louis. That shit was crazy. He told me about this shit, and I'm like, I was thinking he was gonna say some bullshit, but no, he said that's why they got rid of the Negro leagues, because the Negro leagues was whooping the American League and the National League ass when they came had championship games, and they whooped their ass so bad that they didn't even. And those were just expedition games that the Negro leagues had with the American League or National leagues. We had to create our own World Series because they didn't want the Negro leagues they didn't want to have to play the Negro leagues in the World Series because they knew their ass was gonna get washed. But hey, it is what it is.